My dear child, do not move away from this. 3 minutes remain, that is all. And in these 3 minutes, heaven itself has bent down to speak your name. Not through voices of those who have passed, but through the gentle pull inside you, the one that rises whenever old memories ache, and unanswered questions return. That tug in your chest, that heaviness in your breath, that sudden emotional wave, it is not someone reaching from beyond, it is your heart finally asking to be heard. You once loved deeply, you once held someone who shaped your soul in ways you still feel. Their absence carved a space inside you, that time struggled to fill. And because you've carried their memory with such tenderness, your spirit leans in when moments like this arrive. Moments when healing becomes possible. This message isn't from the departed, it is from heaven's comfort, and your own unspoken grief rising into the light. Michael says, heaven responds when a heart cries quietly for too long. Not with voices from another realm, but with clarity, with insight, with a nudge that says, stay, don't rush past this, something in you is ready to heal. That pull you feel is not a presence, it is recognition. Your soul is opening, remembering, softening. You may wonder, why now, why this moment? Because you're finally ready, because the veil between your pain and your healing is thin, because the clock of avoidance has ticked long enough. 3 minutes. That's all heaven needs to plant truth inside you. Beloved, you thought you were forgotten, that heaven stayed silent while you carried guilt, regret, unanswered questions. But God whispers, I was never far, I was never blind to your sorrow. The trembling inside you is not a spirit, it is the weight you've carried for years finally loosening. Listen. You did not fail anyone, you did not cause the loss, you did not drive anyone away. The heaviness you feel is not a visitation, it's your soul releasing what it held too tightly. Pause, do you feel that tear forming? That is healing, not haunting. It is your heart recognizing that it deserves peace. You did not stumble here by accident, this moment is the doorway to clarity. Heaven is not bringing messages from beyond the veil, it is bringing understanding from within you. Your memories rise because they need closure, your grief rises because it seeks gentleness, your spirit rises because it knows you are ready to stop carrying burdens that never belonged to you. Michael speaks softly. Tell them the clock is kind when the heart is open, tell them the urgency they feel is not fear, it is readiness. 3 minutes become 2. 2 become 1. Not because something is disappearing, but because your walls are lowering. Beloved child, listen. You have been carrying questions with no answers, you have been holding guilt that was never yours, you've replayed moments, decisions, conversations, wondering what you could have done differently. Your heart has been living in echoes. But heaven says, today. Release it, not because someone departed speaks it, but because you are finally strong enough to accept it. You left nothing unsaid, you held nothing back, you loved with your whole being, and that is enough. Good, you are still here. And because you stayed, heaven continues. Michael leans close, not with urgency of spirits, but with the urgency of truth. Tell them their heart is remembering what peace feels like, tell them the trembling is not fear, it is recognition. Tell them their healing has already begun. You once thought you imagined the signs, the dreams, the memories that felt too vivid, the chills that came when grief was heavy. None of these were communications from the other side, they were your inner world trying to speak to you. You weren't being contacted, you were being comforted by your own soul. Because the human heart knows how to send signals, when something inside needs light. Michael says, if they walk away now, they walk away from healing. If they stay, the door to clarity opens. That tightening in your chest, it's your spirit recognizing truth. Your heart knows you are releasing something ancient, something heavy, something long carried. Beloved, you are about to learn why your path felt blocked. It wasn't punishment, it wasn't spiritual interference, it wasn't fate turning against you. It was grief. Unprocessed, unspoken, unreleased. Grief sat like a veil over your blessings, not because it meant to harm you, but because you were never given a safe moment to let it go. Now the veil lifts. Now the miracle moves within you. Now truth rises gently, not from beyond but from the center of your own soul. The memory of the one you lost still aches, because love doesn't vanish, it transforms. And the wisdom heaven brings now is this. You are allowed to live without guilt, you are allowed to breathe without heaviness, you are allowed to move forward without feeling disloyal. Let that sink in. Feel the air shift, that is the weight lifting. That is clarity settling. That is your spirit healing. Michael stands, not to deliver a message from the departed, but to guide you through releasing the pain tied to their memory. You are safe, you are seen, you are healing. And heaven says softly, this is not the voice of someone returning, this is the voice of your soul becoming whole. Beloved, stay. You have entered the space where your past loosens its grip, and your future begins to breathe again. This is your moment, this is your release, this is the healing you've been circling for years. You stayed, and because you stayed, heaven smiles. My beloved, listen closely now. Because what rises in you at this moment is not a warning from a spirit, it is your own intuition finally speaking with clarity. That whisper you feel inside, that nudge, that something around you needs attention, is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to awaken you. Heaven guides through wisdom, not fear. Through insight, not shadows. That uneasiness you've ignored, is simply your inner voice asking to be heard. You are sensing energy, not danger. The someone not what they seem, is not a villain hiding in your life, it is an imbalance you've tolerated for too long. A dynamic that drains you emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. Heaven isn't exposing a person, it is revealing a pattern. And patterns are much easier to heal than people are to confront. Michael declares gently. Tell them their spirit has been signaling discomfort, tell them their boundaries are ready to be strengthened. This is deliverance, not from a threat but from exhaustion. Not from darkness, but from self-neglect. If you ignore the feeling, you may continue the same cycles. But if you honor it, everything in you will shift toward peace. Do not dismiss this clarity, it is your shield, it is your insight, it is your chance to move into healthier spaces without fear or drama. God whispers softly. I will not let you walk blind, I will guide you, I will give you the strength to choose peace, the courage to choose truth, and the wisdom to choose yourself. Do you trust that? Do you believe it? Because your belief is what transforms insight into action. Good, you are still here, and because you stayed, heaven can speak deeper. The angels lean closer, not because a mystery must be solved, but because your heart is opening. You didn't turn away, and because of that, the scroll of understanding can unfold. Michael's voice steadies with compassion. This is not the hour for half-belief, this is the hour for inner honesty. Surrender does not take your power, it gives it back to you. Surrender in this moment means releasing the weight you carried, the roles you accepted without question, the habits that kept you small. A memory rises in you, a song, a phrase, a fragment of a moment shared with someone you lost. That memory isn't a message from them, it is your heart reconnecting with the part of you that felt safe, seen, and loved. That memory is a map, not a supernatural sign, a reminder of who you were when you felt whole. Follow that feeling, it will guide you out of the fog. Michael warns with gentle truth, confusion is the real enemy, clarity is the cure. You've been pulled in too many directions, trying to please too many people, shrinking your own light to make others comfortable. But heaven whispers, stop apologizing for who you are. These words are meant to settle into your bones, like warm light breaking through long shadows. Do you sense that soft pressure on your shoulder? That is not a presence. It is your nervous system calming under truth, it is your body relaxing because something inside finally feels understood. Michael's metaphorical covering is simply the reassurance that you are not stepping into this next chapter alone, you are stepping into it with newfound awareness. A thought will rise in your mind, maybe a memory, a name, or a moment. Not as a warning, but as a reflection. You are being shown where your energy leaks, where your boundaries need strengthening, where your heart needs gentleness. Capture that thought, write it down. Not as evidence against anyone, but as evidence for yourself. This is how inner truth becomes clear. You've carried guilt that was never yours, you've held responsibility for things that were beyond your control. Forgiveness is not for someone else, it is for your own release. Let yourself breathe again. Let yourself be human again, you did the best you could with the light you had. Michael's tone sharpens with purpose, guard your peace. Not from people, but from patterns. Not from enemies, but from self-doubt. Peace is a sacred currency, spend it where it grows, not where it drains. Stop offering your emotional pearls to situations not ready to honor them. Pay attention to the small signs around you, repeating numbers, familiar phrases, quiet reminders. Not as supernatural codes, but as markers that your mind is awakening. When awareness grows, patterns reveal themselves. When patterns reveal themselves, healing begins. An opportunity will soon appear, disguised as inconvenience. A delay, a cancelled plan, a small disappointment. Do not mistake these moments as setbacks, they may be pivots that protect you, or redirect you. Perseverance now creates breakthroughs later. The wisdom inside you whispers, do not chase what asks you to shrink. Any relationship, romantic, family, or friendship, that dims your light is not aligned with your future. Your spirit knows which connections nourish you, and which quietly drain you. Trust that inner compass. Michael gives a simple instruction: pray for clarity in the simplest way. You do not need fancy words, you do not need long rituals. Say, Lord, make my next step clear. Simplicity is how heaven speaks, clarity is how your spirit responds. Miracles often look like small corrections, a missed call that saves you from a mistake, a new name appearing when you needed help, a quiet moment that shifts your entire mood. Heaven moves through subtlety, not spectacle. If anger rises as truths about your own life become clearer, let it rise without shame. Anger is not the enemy, misdirection is. Anger can fuel healing if you let it transform into resolve. Let it refine you, not consume you. Let it sharpen your boundaries, not harden your heart. Beloved, listen carefully now, because this is the turning point. What feels like warning is actually permission, permission to choose yourself, to protect your heart, to honor your intuition, and to let go of burdens that never belonged to you. Your spirit is awakening, your heart is remembering its strength, your path is becoming clear. And heaven stands with you, through wisdom, not fear. Through clarity, not threat. Through love, always love. Beloved, listen closely, because what rises in you right now is not fear, it's awareness finally waking up. That tightening in your chest, that sudden clarity moving through your thoughts, that faint memory coming forward. It's your inner wisdom stepping into the light. You've ignored it for too long, pushed it aside, or talked yourself out of it, because it felt inconvenient. But now it refuses to be quiet. That's not danger, it's discernment sharpening. And this is where everything begins to shift, you're starting to see what your heart sensed long ago. Someone in your circle doesn't match the version of themselves they present. Not a villain, not a monster, just someone whose intentions don't fully align with your peace. You don't need to fear them, you only need to notice them. Awareness itself is protection. Michael's voice, symbolic of strength and clarity, echoes through the quiet of your intuition. This is not the hour to doubt what your conscience keeps bringing up. Your inner voice has been trying to protect you, and every time you felt uneasy, it wasn't paranoia, it was self-preservation. Trust that, honor that. Your spirit is wiser than you think. Now breathe, because what rises next is empowerment. You've been dimming your own light so others wouldn't feel insecure, you've been shrinking your truth to maintain peace that wasn't real. You've been pouring into people who offered only surface-level care. But now that pattern breaks, now you step into a version of yourself that doesn't apologize for existing with strength. Let this sentence settle in your bones. You do not owe your peace to anyone who refuses to protect it with you. And as that truth sinks in, something else arrives. Your memories guiding you forward. Not voices from beyond, not messages from other realms, but the emotional imprints of someone you deeply loved. Their lessons, their words, their impact, their encouragement. Those things stay alive in you. The warmth you feel is not a presence entering the room, it's the part of them that shaped you rising back to the surface. To steady your steps. They once told you to trust your intuition, didn't they? That advice still applies, let it guide you now. A soft pull inside reminds you of something important you put away, a letter, an old journal entry, a message you never finished reading. It's not a mystical clue, it's a piece of clarity you weren't ready to face back then. Now you are, go back to it when your heart feels steady. Sometimes the smallest forgotten item brings the biggest realization. You will notice emotional signs, but they won't be supernatural, they'll be patterns your mind has been trying to assemble for years. A repeated thought, a memory that resurfaces, a conversation you keep replaying. These are the breadcrumbs of your own awareness, follow them gently. They will lead you toward the truth you keep avoiding. Now hear this with strength. You are not behind, you are not late, you are not out of time, you are arriving exactly where your journey needs you. Regret tries to cling to the past, but regret loses its grip when understanding grows. That heaviness you've carried isn't guilt, it's grief mixed with responsibility you never actually owed. Let clarity wash that weight away. Forgive yourself for what you didn't know then, honor yourself for what you're learning now. And now a new instruction rises, one rooted in emotional wisdom, not supernatural warning. Protect your inner circle, protect your plans, protect your boundaries. Not because harm is coming, but because your future deserves intentional care. You will begin noticing small synchronicities, not spiritual codes but signs of alignment in your daily life. A perfectly timed message, someone saying exactly what you needed to hear, a thought that arrives at the right moment. These are emotional confirmations, not mystical ones. They remind you that when your inner world becomes aligned, your outer world follows. Your loved one's memory surfaces again, not as a voice but as a reminder of your own strength. They would want you to live boldly, they would want you to choose honesty, they would want you to grow instead of shrink. Carry that forward, let their influence encourage your courage. And now clarity sharpens even more. Someone may try to dismiss your concerns, minimize your feelings, or convince you that your intuition is dramatic. Stand firm, your inner witness is valid. You don't need anyone's permission to trust yourself. Now we shift into wisdom, practical, grounded, powerful. Clean a small corner of your space, physical clarity brings emotional clarity. Make a short list of what matters most right now, prioritize it. Set boundaries without guilt, boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. Protect your finances, your energy, your time, integrity grows when you steward well. And now hear this promise, not a supernatural prophecy but a human truth. What you reorganize with intention will flourish, what you guard with wisdom will grow, what you let go of will make room for something better. Your financial and emotional future will stabilize, as your decisions become aligned. You will notice opportunities emerging, not miracles but moments. Not supernatural doors, but choices that lead to steady opening paths. Accept them, steward them, move through them with discernment. Gather your memories, your lessons, your clarity. Let them equip you instead of haunting you. Your quiet inner strength is returning, your ability to trust yourself is rising, your sense of direction is sharpening. Say this softly, even in your heart. I am ready to move forward with clarity. Let the words settle like grounding, let them become your anchor. This message doesn't end a story, it opens a new chapter. A chapter where you rise with awareness instead of fear. A chapter where you make decisions with wisdom instead of pressure. A chapter where your future is shaped by clarity, not confusion. Stay present, stay grounded, stay awake to your own strength. The unfolding continues. Beloved, hear this next part with a steady heart, because what's unfolding now is guidance meant to protect your future, not predict it. When love is real, it doesn't rush you into decisions, it grows with you step by step, season by season. And now a new truth rises in front of you like dawn after a long night. Healthy love doesn't demand perfection, it invites growth. Let that settle in your spirit. There is a promise forming beneath the surface of your life, one that says you don't have to lose yourself to be loved. You don't have to shrink your voice, dim your gifts, or silence your intuition just to keep someone beside you. The right person grows with you, not above you. They rise with you, not at your expense. And when you see that happening in slow, consistent ways, that's where peace begins to anchor you. Listen closely, because this next truth can save years of unnecessary pain. The strongest love is built through shared responsibility, honest communication, and mutual accountability. Not fantasy, not adrenaline, not rebellion. Responsibility is what keeps romantic fire from burning out into ash. Connection grows when two people choose to be trustworthy, even in discomfort, even when feelings waver, even when circumstances stretch them thin. And now courage becomes your companion. You are entering a season where your boundaries matter more than your fears, where your voice becomes part of your protection, where your decisions begin to reveal the version of you that you were always meant to become. This is not pressure, it's permission. Permission to choose wisely, permission to step slowly, permission to ask, does this relationship honor who I am becoming, not just who I've been? Your heart needs this reminder, time is not your enemy. Rushing is. When you move too fast, emotions can disguise red flags as butterflies. But when you move with patience, clarity rises like a lantern, showing exactly where your next step should be. Love that is meant to last doesn't fear patience, it thrives in it. Now breathe, because the next part comes as a safeguard for your peace. You've been taught to feel guilty when you set boundaries, especially with people who once held influence over you. But guilt is not guidance, guilt is pressure disguised as responsibility. True guidance is calm, grounded, and steady. If a decision brings you peace after you sit with it, it is aligned. If it brings chaos, it is not. Let peace be your compass. This is where symbolic Michael enters, not as a supernatural being but as a metaphor for strength, clarity, and grounded discernment. Think of him as the voice inside you that refuses to settle for half-truths or emotional manipulation. That part of you says firmly, guard your peace, guard your values, guard your future. Honor that voice, it is your inner wisdom rising to maturity. Here comes a truth, your heart needs to absorb deeply. Your decisions today become the architecture of your future. Love cannot carry a future built on unclear expectations, invisible fears, or unspoken needs. That is why communication is no longer optional for you, it's essential. Speak your thoughts, ask your questions, share your insecurities. Healthy love won't punish honesty, it will lean into it. And now we enter the part that changes the way you move forward, practical wisdom, the kind that protects your spirit and your stability. First, evaluate emotional balance. Does each person feel heard? Does each person feel valued? Is the relationship fueled by mutual honesty, not silent resentment? Healthy love requires two open hearts, not one person carrying the emotional load alone. Second, protect financial integrity. Not through fear, but through wisdom. Clear plans, shared transparency, fair contributions, these are not unromantic, they are foundational. Money becomes dangerous only when it becomes secret. Third, create intentional space. Love deepens when each person has time alone, with their faith, their thoughts, and their emotional needs. You cannot pour endlessly, without refilling your own cup. Fourth, honor conflict with humility. Arguments do not destroy relationships, pride does. A gentle tone can dissolve tension faster than a perfect argument ever will. When you fight, fight for the relationship, not to win. Fifth, celebrate consistency over intensity. Anyone can make grand gestures, but only someone committed can make small steady choices that build trust over time. Now let's talk about discernment, because it's more important now than ever. Pay attention to how your body reacts around people. Discomfort is not drama, it's data. Peace is not coincidence, it's confirmation. If someone drains you even in their kindness, reflect on why. If someone makes your spirit feel safe, even in silence, reflect on that too. Your instincts are not foolish, they are trained by everything you've lived through. Trust the version of yourself who survived heartbreak, betrayal, disappointment, and confusion. They learned the hard way what peace feels like. Don't ignore that wisdom. There is something powerful rising in you now, a quiet confidence born from clarity. You no longer need external approval to validate your path. You no longer need everyone to understand your choices, you only need alignment with your values, your faith, and your future. This next part comes as an anchor for your journey. Love is not proven by rebellion or secrecy. It is proven by respect, transparency, and consistency. Admit what scares you, name what excites you, share what confuses you. The right person will not run, they will lean in. And now the final truth of this section settles into your chest like warmth. You are not stepping into dangerous territory, you are stepping into intentional territory. You're learning to choose better, trust wiser, love slower, and grow deeper. That is maturity, that is strength, that is alignment. Your story is not rushing toward an ending, it is unfolding toward clarity. Stay patient, stay grounded, stay honest, stay open. The next chapter arrives when you're ready, not when you're pressured. My beloved, pause for a moment. Let your breath steady itself, because what comes next is not meant to frighten you, it is meant to awaken you. Life sometimes sends quiet warnings long before the storm comes, not through supernatural voices, but through intuition, tension, hesitation, and those subtle moments where something in your chest whispers, "Pay attention." That whisper is your inner wisdom, shaped by everything you've survived. Listen to it now. You've sensed something shifting around you. Someone in your circle may not be showing their full truth. Not because they're evil, but because people carry private fears, insecurities, and motives they don't know how to express. Your loved one, whose memory still lives in your heart, wanted you to finally trust those inner signals instead of doubting yourself. Not because danger is guaranteed, but because clarity protects your peace. This is not prophecy, this is wisdom cultivated through loss and love. Michael, symbolic of strength and discernment, reminds you. Clarity is not confrontation, awareness is not fear. Let your insight lead you gently. You do not need to accuse anyone, or expose anything. You simply need to stand calmly in your truth, and observe what unfolds. Sometimes life reveals more in silence, than in arguments. My beloved, you stayed with this message, and because you stayed, your heart is open enough for deeper reflection. This next part isn't about fear, it's about alignment. The memory of the one you lost presses forward, not as a voice from beyond, but as the echo of love that shaped you. They remind you of the promise you once shared, a promise to grow, to heal, to keep going with courage, even when life felt unbearably heavy. That old song that suddenly returns to your mind. It's not a mystical sign, it's your nervous system remembering safety. It's your heart remembering connection. Play it tonight, not to summon anything supernatural, but to ground yourself. Let it soften the places inside you, that you've been guarding for too long. And now listen closely. You've been carrying roles that were never yours to begin with. You've tried to be the strong one, the peacemaker, the silent sufferer. You've bent yourself into shapes that made others comfortable. But life is inviting you into a season where you no longer shrink your light, you stand fully present, fully honest, fully brave. You might feel a soft pressure in your chest, not from angels touching you, but from your own body recognizing truth. Your intuition has been trying to protect you, let it. Your memories nudge you toward something specific. Maybe an old letter, a forgotten drawer, a journal you stopped writing in. Explore it, not expecting secrets, but expecting clarity. Sometimes we bury our own truths in the same places we hide our grief. If a face comes to mind, don't assume betrayal. Simply acknowledge the feeling. Awareness is a form of self-respect. You don't need to confront anyone, you simply need to honor your instincts. My beloved, forgive yourself for carrying burdens that were never yours. You did not fail, you did not fall short, you were doing your best, in circumstances that stretched your heart thin. Let that truth settle gently. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the past, it's a gift you give to your future. Michael, symbolizing courage, reminds you. Guard your peace like a treasured garden. Not everyone deserves access to the most vulnerable parts of you. Set boundaries softly but clearly, not in anger, but in self-respect. You may notice patterns, songs, memories, repeated moments. They are not supernatural messages, they are emotional signposts. They help you recognize what matters, and what needs healing. Beloved, life will offer you an opportunity soon. It may feel inconvenient or small. It may even feel like a disruption. But sometimes growth comes disguised as interruption. Approach it with curiosity, not fear. You don't need to jump into anything, just stay open. Now breathe. You may feel a rise of emotion, anger, sadness, confusion. These are natural responses to clarity. Let them move through you, and transform into determination. You are not fragile, you are becoming focused. If you feel prompted to clean a corner of your room, simplify your schedule, or clear your inbox, do it. Physical clarity creates mental clarity. These simple actions open emotional space for healthier decisions. You are not behind, you are not late, you are exactly where you need to be. For the next chapter to unfold. Life does not operate on your old timelines, it operates on readiness. And you are becoming ready. The memory of your loved one urges you, not to waste this new chapter. Not in fear, not in doubt, but in courage. You owe it to yourself to live honestly now. Michael's symbolic presence leans close. Because you stayed present, because you listened inwardly, the path ahead becomes clearer. Not because of magic, but because attention sharpens reality. Whisper this within yourself, I am ready. This is not a mystical key, it's a psychological one. It signals your brain to shift from survival into openness. Beloved, remember this, you don't need dramatic miracles. You need small steady steps, steps that build a life of peace, truth, and emotional safety. The next part of your journey will not reveal itself all at once, it will come in rhythms, moments of clarity, moments of release, moments of courage. Stay patient with yourself. Your story is not closing, your story is unfolding. And you are finally stepping into the version of yourself that life has been calling forward for years. Beloved, pause now. Let your breath settle, because the next part unfolds like a quiet dawn. Slow, steady, shaping your heart with clarity rather than fear. Life has a mysterious way of placing important people and unexpected meetings in your path, not as supernatural interventions, but as moments of alignment. What feels disruptive may simply be life nudging you towards someone who holds wisdom, perspective, or opportunity. Stay open, don't rush to dismiss anything unfamiliar. Often the most meaningful connections appear in the folds of inconvenience. The memory of the one you lost, alive in your heart, not speaking from beyond, reminds you gently, they always wanted you to feel defended, supported, and steady. That sense of being protected wasn't supernatural, it was the imprint of their love shaping your resilience long after they left. When you revisit an old note, or rediscover a forgotten message, remember these discoveries don't come to stir revenge, they come to stir healing. Healing frees your future, retaliation binds it. Michael, symbolizing strength and wise discipline, invites you into a small but powerful shift. Release one habit that drains your spirit. It could be a pattern of overthinking, a certain relationship dynamic, or the way you carry guilt. Letting go of even one draining habit creates room for clarity. Replace it with a simple morning ritual, 5 minutes of stillness, one deep breath, one sentence of intention. Small actions often ignite bigger transformations. Now turn your attention to practical matters. Sometimes peace is restored not through miracles, but through organization. Revisit old emails, unread messages, a drawer you haven't touched in months. Not because the universe hid secrets there, but because you may have overlooked something important during emotional overload. Many people find clarity in forgotten paperwork, not by chance, but because stress once clouded their ability to see clearly. This week your relational boundaries may become clearer, not because the universe is sending signs, but because your emotional maturity is growing. Let the clarity guide you. If something ends, treat it as a sacred transition that protects your energy. If someone steps closer, receive them with discernment. Endings and beginnings both serve your growth. Write down 3 things you're ready to release. A burden, a false story you told yourself, a person whose influence has stretched too far. Fold the paper, keep it somewhere meaningful, or let it go in a symbolic way. This act isn't magic, it's mindfulness. A ritual to remind your brain and heart that you are choosing peace over heaviness. Beloved, speak less about your plans, and more about your intentions. Privacy isn't secrecy, it's stewardship. Let your prayers shape your path more than public opinions. Your dreams need quiet space to grow. When you step into a room, hold your head a little higher. Not as spiritual prophecy, but as emotional alignment. Your posture teaches your mind what confidence feels like. Walk like someone who values themselves, because you are. Life may bring back an unexpected voice, someone you parted ways with may reach out. Not because fate demanded it, but because people grow, heal, and seek closure. Listen, but with discernment. Offer grace without surrendering your boundaries. Create a small sacred corner, a candle, a plant, a photograph. Not to attract spiritual forces, but to create a moment of stillness. A place where you meet your own thoughts honestly. Tend to that space, it quiets the noise of the world. And hear this, you are safe from scarcity when you learn to steward what you already have. Gratitude sharpens your awareness, it helps you see opportunities disguised as everyday moments. Hoarding closes your heart, gratitude opens it. Take care of your rest. Your dreams may feel clearer, not because angels rewrite destiny, but because your mind processes truths you avoid during the day. Protect your sleep, record dreams that linger, your subconscious is speaking. You might notice patterns, a number, a phrase, a memory. These are not omens, they are emotional echoes. When something repeats, reflect on why it matters to you. If a legal or financial situation comes up, don't rush. Seek counsel. Wise guidance from trained professionals is often the way clarity arrives, not from the heavens, but from grounded perspective. Walk in honesty. Integrity opens doors that manipulation can only break. Let your truth be your currency, it will simplify your choices, and attract connections aligned with your character. A creative idea may nudge your mind, a project, a hobby, a business thought you once dismissed. Revisit it. Sometimes these sparks reappear when you are finally ready to nurture them. Creativity is one of the most reliable ways life redirects you. Remember to laugh, joy isn't a distraction, it's medicine. Allow small moments of humor into your day, sing, dance, smile at something simple. Joy helps heal what discipline alone cannot. Say this line for 7 days, I step into my future with peace. Not as an incantation, but as a grounding affirmation. It helps you shift out of defensive thinking, and into confidence. If an old name resurfaces in your mind, explore that memory with gentleness. Not because destiny demands it, but because unresolved thoughts often point to personal growth. Your network may shift. Some people will drift away, others will appear. It's not a cosmic sign, it's emotional alignment. When you grow, your connections recalibrate. Welcome thoughtful people slowly, let time reveal their role. Hold on to one old message, photo, or memory that once strengthened you. Not as a spiritual channel, but as emotional grounding. Memories can stabilize you when transitions feel overwhelming. Michael, representing your own resilience, reminds you. You can replace fear with thoughtful action, you can meet challenges with centered clarity. Let that truth be a shield. God's final whisper in this segment is gentle, choose the option that brings peace to your inner world. Peace is not weakness, it is wisdom. Beloved, these small steps you take now, build the architecture of your future. Don't underestimate beginnings that feel quiet, they often carry the most strength. Keep walking, keep choosing clarity, keep choosing integrity. If you want, I will continue with the next segment, same flow, same tone, same intensity, totally safe and cinematic.